Go where no man has gone before. Viewer discretion is advised.
It'll make your head spin. It'll knock your socks off. Broadcasting live from beautiful 47-degree downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. And as we all know, the flashing G stands for your host, me, Grumpy. And unfortunately, our show is brought to you by, who are you? Oh, yeah, Grumpy Vulture Productions. Damn bird. You're supposed to remind me I wish I could fire his ass. Man, I'll tell you, the frickin' temperature has dropped here. God damn. And about an hour ago, my little weather box in the corner keeps flashing, freeze warning, freeze warning, freeze warning. I'm like, holy shit. This is supposed to be spring, not winter. Although, Kathy, you know how it is. April, May, one day 80, the next day minus 20, Sunshine one day, 2 feet of snow the next day. Typical Cleveland.
Whatever.
I couldn't believe it. I see this box flashing, and I have a little weather notification at the bottom of the screen. I'm looking at it, freeze warning, freeze warning, freeze warning. Although, for, the idiots that insist on putting their plants in the ground before the last frost would be running out, covering with straw, putting buckets over plants to keep them from freezing. I'll tell you, I remember over the years, I would warn neighbors because, they wanted to be the first in the neighborhood to have, all kinds of floral in their front yards or vegetable plants. I tell them, how many years have you lived in Cleveland? You always wait to plant after the last frost, because anytime up until, God, sometime Memorial Day, we've had frost. And then people's plants are all dead and they're like, oh shit, I told you. I never would put my tomatoes in. As a matter of fact, I would put my tomatoes in on Memorial Day every year. Was easy to remember. I would go to the nursery and I would tell the girls, okay, I want, this. Put it aside for me, and I'll be up for it, Memorial Weekend. And then Memorial Weekend, I would plant. And even then, it was risky. Cleveland has got, although I'll tell you, since global warming, Cleveland doesn't get near the snow and the freezing temperatures like we got when back in the 50s. I mean, I'll be the first one to say I was a naysayer when they come up with this global warming shit. I'll tell you what, since the 50s, I have seen the weather in Ohio change remarkably. It was nothing back in the 50s to get 3 feet of snow, severe drifting. I think this year was probably the worst that we've had in the last 5, because there was so much rapid snow that I had to, call to get the driveway plowed. But most years, shit, I didn't even take a shovel out of the garage. So there is something to this global warming. And if you notice, areas like northeastern Ohio are having, very mild winters. You get down like Florida, and it's frickin' snowing in the orange groves, I'll take it. You ain't going to hear me complain. I don't want to see that shit from the 50s ever again. Because there was no such thing as a snow day. It was basically snow days off. Get your ass to school. And there'd be so much snow, people wouldn't shovel. You're a little kid trying to walk in all that deep-ass snow. Although you made snowballs, you had snowball fights, you get to school and you're covered in snow and wet, and the teachers are bitching. The good old days. I think when I was in grade school, we only had one day where the school closed. And it wasn't due to the snow, it was due to the boiler in the school having a problem and it wouldn't heat the building. So they closed the school for that day, but it wasn't a snow day. God, I don't think up until I graduated high school we had a snow day. Now these little sissies today, 3 snowflakes fall. Snow day, snow day, snow day. And the thing that really pisses me off is most of them are being bussed or picked up by their parents. Oh, I'll tell you what. When school lets out, the high school. Now, I live 2 blocks from the high school. I have never seen so many goddamn cars parked up and down streets to pick up the little sissies. Back in the day, maybe you would see 10 cars, and that was for the kids that either had a disability or maybe some sort of illness that required their parents to pick them up. Holy shit, cars lined up and down the street, parked on both sides. These little sissies today. And in this weather, I could see it maybe in a bad snowstorm. In this weather, you know, they come out of school at 68 degrees, mommy's picking their asses up. They don't know how to fucking walk. One of these days, I'm going to take some pictures of cars parked on both sides of the goddamn and the police don't do nothing. It's disgusting. We're raising a bunch of pansy-ass sissies. I'll tell you what, and Kathy, you can agree with me, these kids would not fucking survive if they grew up in our times. If we took these kids back in a time capsule, oh, God, they wouldn't make it. They'd look out the window and go, we got to walk in that? It's 2 foot deep. Quick, Mom, tune in the radio. Is there a snow day? We didn't even know the word snow day. All right, from my house to the grade school, which was 1 to 6, let me count. All right, from where I lived, 5 blocks, okay, to the junior high, from my house to the junior high, matter of fact, I counted it out the other day, 14 blocks. That was the farthest distance, was to the junior high. And then the high school, I lived 2 blocks, maybe 2.25 blocks away. And I fucking drove to school. I get in the car, I drive up, park on the corner 2 blocks away. There it was. I'm at school. But yeah, I had to walk 14 blocks to the junior high, and no snow day. If we had snow, my parents would get me up like an hour earlier so that I could leave at least half an hour, 40 minutes early to get to school. Yeah, from kindergarten to 6th grade wasn't too bad. Junior high, as a matter of fact, what the principal did of the grade school, maybe 2 weeks before graduation, where we were to go on to junior high or what they call middle school. She got permission from the school board to let us walk from the grade school to the junior high and back. And we're talking summer weather. And man, when we got back from that walk, our asses were whipped. And snow made it even worse. Oh, yeah, grade school, we went through a lot of Wonder Bread bags. A lot. As a matter of fact, I want to say about 8-9 months before I started kindergarten, my mother was saving bread bags. And she would, don't touch those. Those are special. And I'm thinking to myself, they're bread bags. What's so special? Come winter, them bags were special because they kept your socks dry. Because my mother would, I'd have my socks on. She'd have me step into the bread bag and pull it up, and then she would tuck it in my socks. And then I could put my foot in my boot. And she always bought, I think they called them athletic socks at the time. They came up about halfway up my calf. So that bread bag tucked in, there was a lot of dryness. The first time it snowed and she brought out the bread bags, then I knew. Now I know why I couldn't touch them. Because you have to have a supply if you fuck them up. And almost every single kid had bread bags, and the teacher'd have clotheslines. And I can't remember if our mothers had to put our names on the bread bag or the teachers, but they would be hanging up, clothespinned. And then when it was time to go, she passed out all the bread bags. Yeah, good old Wonder Bread. Because it wasn't like today. You go into a store and there's a 40-foot aisle of bread from every manufacturer, every kind of bread on earth. We had Wonder. There were 2 breads. I can't remember the other one. Because my parents always bought Wonder Bread. I can't remember what the other bakery was. Because all the way up until I started high school, it was Wonder Bread. And then my mother would go down by the silk mills to the day-old bread store. I can't remember. Millbrook. That was the other bread. We had Wonder Bread and Millbrook. But my mother, and they only bought Wonder Bread. And then when I was getting ready to start high school, Millbrook had a day-old store. No, the Millbrook store was on 117th because the bakery was there too. Oh, what was the Dolly Madison was down on the off of West Boulevard by the Silk Mills. Yeah, that was the Dolly Madison store. Yeah, we had Wonder Bread and Millbrook. And I think my parents bought the Wonder Bread because it was like 2 pennies cheaper. I mean, bread is bread when you come down to it, but back in the day, people pinched pennies. Money was scarce back in the day. I remember hearing stories when I was a little tyke. My father bitching about his car payment. And his car payment was $3.50 a month. $3.50 a month for his car payment. He was like, oh, gee, you know, the light bill is $8 and the gas bill is $6 and my car payment $3.50 and the rent was $20 a month. He was like, oh, man, I don't know how we ever survived. That was back in 1949. Actually, it was before I was born. It was 1949 when the two of them got married and rented a... Matter of fact, the house, I drive past it all the time. We never left the neighborhood. I know where the house that I was born in, I lived there for 2 years, and then my grandfather bought the house that I grew up in, and my father, it was rent to own, but that term wasn't even known back in the day. And then when I got married, I bought the house around the corner. And then I lost that in the divorce. And I lived up the street. And now here. And it's sad because I've seen this neighborhood really take a dive. It's really sad. Almost as sad. I watched about 12 court videos today, and it was all kids. 18 to, 22, 23. I want to, had I been the judge, I would have bitch slapped all these kids. Because every single one, and I watched, 10, 12, maybe 15 court videos with teenagers. Well, 18 to about 22. Every kid And we're talking courts across the U.S., not just Ohio and Michigan. Every fucking kid was treated for anxiety, depression, and PTSD. That's why they were all criminals, because they had anxiety, depression, and PTSD. If anybody should have had anxiety, depression, and PTSD, it should have been me. And none of them terms even existed. Every kid. It's like every attorney gets a handbook on how to handle kids. Well, Your Honor, the reason my client held up them 27 people at the subway was because he had anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And he needed the money. It's sickening. The way they coddle these fucking kids nowadays. Oh, Your Honor, he can't do jail time. He needs, and probation is now called community control. Like the whole community controls this kid now. He needs community control because he's suffering anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And then the court, oh God, every goddamn kid that gets sentenced goes through 20 minutes of the judge explaining their rights. Now, when this kid is holding up a store and pointing a weapon, does he spend 20 minutes giving the teller his rights? When they've got somebody at gunpoint before they pull the trigger, do they spend 20 minutes saying, well, you have this right and you have that right and this right and that right?
Danger, 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 danger.
Then after they get done giving him his rights, we waste more time in court because the judge has to go over every single right, and if the kid don't if he don't understand one of them, we have to stop. He conferences with his attorney. Then he goes, okay, I understand. Okay, the next right, you have the right to a trial. Since you're deciding to plead guilty, you do have the right to a trial. Do you understand that? Oh, wait a minute. I talk to my lawyer. I understand, Judge. Jesus Christ. You're guilty. Stand up. 10 years. Next. No. We got to read them 20 minutes of their rights. Are they reading the victim 20 minutes worth of rights? No.
Wow!
That's what I said. The court system is going to hell in a handbasket. Goddamn criminals have more rights than anybody. And the goddamn prisons are getting cushy as hell. They have exercise rooms, they have reading rooms, they have a day room, they have a TV room. You're supposed to be in prison, locked in a cell. You're not at a spa. And the federal prisons are worse. I've actually heard criminals say, can I get sentenced federally? Because the regular prison sucks. I want to go to the spa prisons, the federal ones, where I have more rights. I can have my own TV. God, next thing they'll want refrigerators and stoves and filet mignon at the commissary. I actually heard, well, this guy had done something. He had gone across state lines, so he had state charges and federal. And he actually asked the judge, can I get sentenced federally? And the judge was like, why? He said, well, prison sucks. Well, you're going to prison. But I want to go to federal prison. Regular prison sucks. Next thing, the massages, manicures. Jesus Christ. And then if it's a serious offense, it gets an automatic appeal. And appeals can go on for 7, 8 years. What a crock of bullshit. It was like one case I watched last night. It took 10 years to solve the case. And of course, 10 years ago, DNA was not where it's at today. So they find this one guy that somehow never got interviewed 10 years ago. And he had dated the woman's daughter that, unfortunately, he gave mom a dirt nap. But he had dated the daughter and they had broke up. And he tried to clean up the crime scene. Unfortunately, he left his fucking blood all over the place. So they had excellent DNA, which was hilarious because when the detective said, well, your DNA was a match, and he said, What's DNA? And the two detectives looked at one another and said, what? What's DNA? So the one detective said, what's DNA? He said, well, you keep saying DNA, DNA. She said, it's a medical term, something, something, something acid, DNA. And he sat there and he said, nobody ever took my DNA. How is it you can tell me my DNA's a match for the crime when nobody took my DNA? And the detective said, well, when we discovered that you had previously dated the daughter, we followed you. And one day, after you were done sitting in the park eating your lunch, you discarded a water bottle. But you didn't notice that the guy that was sitting a couple of benches down plucked that water bottle out of the garbage. And that's how we got your DNA. Yeah, he's sitting in the park eating lunch, a couple of benches down is a detective. The guy walks over to the trash bin, chucks his empty water bottle in, walks away. Detective scurries up, puts on a glove, opens a sterile bag, plucks the water bottle out, dunk. As a matter of fact, there was two interesting ones. I remember both of them. They had followed this one guy for weeks. And he was a real fanatic. When he would go out for a cigarette break, where everybody else was chucking the cigarettes in a bucket, he would put his cigarette out. He had a little baggie in his pocket, and he'd put the cigarette in the baggie. He would never discard anything. Water bottles, pop bottles. One day, now across the street was a detective watching this guy, because he would come out like at 10 o'clock every day for a cigarette break. And this detective, there was a forklift company across the street. And of course, you know, the police, can we get a uniform, you know. So when this guy would look across the street, he'd see a guy in the forklift company uniform. Didn't pay no attention to him. Finally, after 2 months of watching this guy daily, he cleared his throat and he hopped up a loogie on the sidewalk. The guy no sooner got his ass in the door and the detective ran across the street with a Q-tip, scooping that loogie out of the pavement, putting it in a plastic bag, and that's how they got his DNA. And then there was another one they followed. Oh, this guy, another. They followed this guy for like 6 months trying to get his DNA because they didn't want to tip him off. And if he would eat like at a McDonald's, he would take all of his shit with him, never throw it in the garbage. He'd take it home. He was driving either to or from work. And the detective was right behind him. And they were at a traffic light. And the guy, not thinking, threw a cigarette out the window. The light turns green. The guy takes off. The detective stops in the middle of the intersection. Gloves, tweezers, and picks that cigarette butt out of the street and puts it in the bag. Traffic tied up what because he was in an intersection. I could imagine the look on people's faces. What the hell is he doing? Picking up a goddamn cigarette? Are you that hard up for a cigarette you're going to smoke somebody's cigarette butt?
WTF?
Right. It's amazing how sneaky detectives are. There was a murder in Cleveland, and it was a group of young kids, teenagers, 17, 16, and the detectives on garbage day would pick their garbage up, take it back to the district, pour it out on a big table, and search through it. Well, the kids got a little too comfortable. And after, I don't know, 3 weeks after the murder, the kid threw out the shoes that he was caught on security camera wearing, the pants, and the hoodie. But it was disgusting because they were pouring that garbage out, and the one bag had a lot of magnets in it. And the one detective said, yep, the glory of detective work. Not like you see Matlock on TV, you know. Or Magnus P.U. So if you're going to commit a crime, don't throw anything away in public. Matter of fact, do something with your garbage so that it's not in your garbage can. And don't spit. But the one guy, like I say, he was a real fanatic. Because the police had brought him in for an interview. And they asked him to sign a rights statement. And then they told him to fold it up and put it in an envelope. So he puts it in the envelope, and the police, trying to be coy, said, "Oh, by the way, you have to seal that envelope." And the guy pushed it across the table and said, "You want it sealed, seal it yourself. I'm not licking that envelope." And they were like, "God damn it." They offered him a bottle of water. He was like, "No, thank you." You want to go out for a smoke? They went out for a smoke. The detectives threw the cigarette butts in the bucket. The guy pinched off the end of the cigarette, pulled a plastic bag out of his shirt pocket, put his cigarette butt back in his pocket. Detectives were like, "God damn it." We offered him water, wouldn't take it. Couldn't get his cigarette butt, wouldn't lick the envelope. Because the guy knew he was guilty. And when they finally called him back in and said, "You did it, we've got your DNA," and the guy was like, "You don't have my DNA." And the one detective said, "Remember the one day you were out for a cigarette break? And you hocked up a loogie?" And the kid was like, "I don't know, maybe." He said, "I got it off the sidewalk." Yeah, and the kid was like, "You what?" He said, "Yeah, I've been across the street at the tow motor company watching your ass." Said, "You thought you were coy keeping your cigarette butts, but you didn't stop and think that day that you went that somebody would come up with a Q-tip and take it up off the sidewalk." And the detective had a body cam because the kid was like, "Oh, that could have been anybody's." And they said, "You want to see the video?" Yeah. The kid's walking towards the building and goes, he goes in the door, and on the body cam you see that detective doing 200 miles an hour across the street. Pulls out them Q-tips. And at that point, the kid, he was like 22, 23. You could see the look on his face. Oh, fuck. But he got away with that. It took, I think, 3 years. From the day that he committed the crime, 3 years till they arrested him, even though they had their suspicions. And today, the advancements in DNA are unbelievable. There was one case I watched the other day. The way they finally, they didn't really have a true suspect, but they had a sample of the guy's DNA from the crime scene. And there's this company out, I think they're in California, I'm not positive. They do a family tree. And they literally had uncles from like one side of the family was from like Bulgaria and the other side was like from Moldavia, and they put this family tree together, and that's how it was one of two brothers that committed the murder. And they were lucky enough when they finally got the possibility of these two. The one brother, they got his DNA like the next day. He was at a mom and pop restaurant, and of course, detective sitting at the counter a couple of seats from him, and the guy had a pop with a straw. And he finished his lunch, and he threw the tip down on the counter and walked away. And the waitress, it was hilarious. She grabbed that cup with the straw, and the detective was like, "I'll take that cup." And she was like, "What? If I can let go of your hand long enough, I'll show you my badge." Don't do anything with that cup. She's there with that cup. He flashes his ID and his badge, opens a plastic bag, tells her, "Drop it in there." "Thank you." By the way, here's a $5 tip for them 7 cups of coffee I drank. Yeah. Between DNA and sneaky detectives, you ain't getting away with shit nowadays. You know, it's look at that up on the East Coast. That guy that gave dirt naps to all them hookers. Gilgo Beach. Gilgo. He got careless. It took like 20 years, but he got careless. Because when they arrested him, he was shocked. Who, me? No. Well, according to this report, it's like 1 quintillion in 1 that your DNA is a match. That's a 1 with 47 zeros behind it. That's basically how close we got it. But this crap of spending 20 minutes reading some idiot his rights. You read them the rights in the police station. Then before you sentence him, you read him more rights. Yeah, it's unfortunately, you shot the victim 47 times, but you have all these rights. Before the guy shot the victim 47 times, did he say, "We're going to take 20 minutes, I'm going to explain your rights before I shoot you"? Boy, I'll tell you what. I am really pissed off at Coffe. Oh. I got 2 packages today. One from Coffe and one from King Bee Delivery. I looked at the truck, King Bee Delivery. I said, who are you delivering for? Gofo. I said, Gofo? You're a delivery company for Gofo? The girl was like, oh, yeah. So you and Ding Dong Delivery are picking up at the same terminal downtown? I guess so. There's a lot of us now. Yeah. SpeedX, Uni, Gofo, Ding Dong Delivery, and now the Bee. King Bee. King Bee Delivery with a big bee flying on the side of the truck. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. I said, at least King Bee is better than Ding Dong Delivery. I ordered a remote for my Roku. And it is illuminated. Because at night, sometimes I hit the wrong frickin' button. So these remote, as soon as you touch it, it turns on, lights up all the keys. It shipped from Chino, California. And since the 11th, it is lost somewhere in the warehouse at Melrose Park, Illinois. Their regional hub. Gofo Regional Hub. It moved across the country, it hit Melrose Park, and died. Now, I have a new Roku box, but I don't want to hook it up because I want to program the remote to the box so I don't have to do it twice. Now, I could hook the new Roku box up right now, but then I would have to program this remote, which everything's a pain in the ass. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and waiting. And today I called Gofo. I said, hey, where's my remote? What's your tracking number? Oh, Jesus Christ. GSFU QB93726B89114762X. I don't know if I got that right. Would you repeat it? No! Run the number. Well, that shows your remote in Melrose Park, Illinois, regional hub. I said, yeah, it's been there since the 11th. It should be here by now. What'd you do, lose it? I would check. We'll email you. Have a nice day. Yeah, it's been sitting since the 11th. And the interesting thing is, the second package that I got today came from Rancho Cucamonga, California, through Melrose Park, then to Warrensville, where the terminal is, to my house, in 4 days. I said, it was at Melrose Park. You mean to tell me your computer system didn't go, oh, wait a minute, there's another package here that's been here since the 11th. Of course, I get a notice from Temu that said, since it's past your estimated delivery date, once you get the item, we will refund all your money. So I messaged back, well, what if I never get the item? Well, give it 14 days, and if I don't have it, they'll refund all my money. So, like if I get the remote tomorrow, I just have to click received, and then they'll refund all my money. Or wait 14 days, and they'll refund all my money. Either way, I'm getting all my money back. I'm getting the remote for free. I mean, Temu is amazing. I got an item that was damaged. Now, it wasn't damaged to the point I couldn't use it, but it was damaged. So I filed a claim. I took 2 pictures like they want, and then I get this notification. If you want the refund as a credit on your account, you will get it instantly. If you want it to go back on your bank card, it'll take 3 to 5 days. Hey, I'm going to spend it anyway. Give it to me instantly, and I'll probably instantly spend it. And they're quick with the $5 because I had a package that was projected to be here no later than the 8th, and it came on the 9th. And I got a notification that they credited me $5 due to late delivery. You don't even have to ask. Here you go. Here's your $5. Have a nice day. Because they know this idiot here is going to spend it right away anyway. Then today, I almost fell out of my chair. They have the police siren. The same one that I have in the shitbox and the Passat. I paid $49 for the first one and $42 for the second one. Today, police siren with 200-watt speaker, $42. I was like, Jesus. I had to buy the siren, and then I had to buy the speaker combo. Same siren with speaker. I'm tempted to order one just to keep it around in case I need it. Because I put sirens in everything. I use it mainly for the air horn. Scare the shit out of people. I did that at Mark's one day. I'm getting ready to pull out, and this woman decides she's going to answer her cell phone standing in front of my car. Blah, 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 blah. I think she pissed herself. I couldn't believe it. $42, same siren, with a speaker. And I'll tell you what, they're the same speakers that are on the police cars. Because the one that's going to go on the Passat, the day the police were out front of my house, I went and looked on the front of the police car, and I was like, holy shit. And the officer was like, what? I said, I've got that speaker. That one, right there. But what are you going to do with it? Well, nothing. I have it. Same model number, I checked. Same company. And I went on the website. If I would buy this 200 watt, it's the flat speaker. I don't want the horn because the flat one will be a little more hidden on the front of the Passat. If I order that speaker from the company that manufactures it, it's $97. If I order that speaker from Temu, it's $25, and it's the same one. $25, because I just got it the other day. Because I've got the horn, and the horn sticks out a little bit. It's too obvious. So I wanted the flat one. It looks like a little square box. So I ordered it. It's sitting on the kitchen counter. But it was the identical speaker that Cleveland has got on their police cars. I did a little test fit. Oh, it's going to be wonderful. Because the way I'm mounting it, unless you're really looking, you won't see it until I hit the air horn. Yeah, as soon as the weather warms up, I got a lot of shit to do on that car. I got fog lights to put on it. I got to put that siren speaker on it. What else have I got to wire up? Oh, I got to put the scanners in too. But none of that until I have that certain piece of paper in my hand that I haven't heard from the fucking attorney, so tomorrow I'm going to be calling her ass and saying, hey, the judge signed the order. Let's get rolling here. I've been waiting 6 months. Your fault anyway. Yeah, the order's signed. And if I don't hear from her, I am going to do like the head of the Title Bureau told me. Come down, bring the paperwork, and they will file a court order demanding that title immediately get issued to me. Because I have everything now. I've got my original receipt that him and I signed. I've got the order that originally denied the sale. Now I have the new order that was approved on the 30th, releasing the other 3 cars for sale with no glitches. Released for sale. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I'm going to call her office tomorrow, and if I don't hear from her by Wednesday, I'm going to go out to the title bureau and I'm going to file for that court order, which will really piss her off. Because I have been very polite with my email saying, please, please, please. Because the head of the title bureau, the woman I talked to, told me, with all this paperwork, the judge will immediately grant it. Which means the court will say, hey, bitch, you were supposed to give this guy his goddamn title. Now, get it to him. Because I have been delaying and rescheduling a lot of my Parma doctor's appointments because I don't want to take the chance of driving out there. And the main one I keep putting off is for the surgeon for my toe. Because Tuesday, I've got to go what's up the street to the eye doctor, and they're going to laser my right eye. Because I've got scar tissue that's kind of fucking the eye up from when they implanted that lens when I had the cataracts taken out. And she told me since they're only going to do one eye, I can drive. Because I told her I'm only 4 blocks. That's all I got to go, 4 blocks. She said it'll take about 15 minutes. Sit in the chair. You're done. I can't see. The light was too bright. Well, here, we're going to put a patch over your eye. There, is that better? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see with one eye now. Yeah, she said nothing to it. Sit down in the chair. You put your neck and your chin in this goofy thing. Your forehead goes against it. Your chin goes in a cup. They put a little Velcro strap to hold your head in place. They stick that laser in front. Open wide. Oh, man, that was fucking bright. And then a couple weeks, then I'll get the other eye done. So that I can have perfect 20/20 again, so I can go in the end of October and get my new driver's license. Because I told her, I said, I got nobody to bring me up here. She said, well, we're only going to do one eye. We'll put a patch on it. A lot of people have patches on their eye. No anesthetic, nothing, just give you the old laser right in the eye. The laser. You got me. You shot me in the eye.
WTF?
Wow!
Hey, Fatso, what time is it? Man, you're really early. You're really early. Are you that hungry? Well, that's right, you didn't have any treats today either. I got out of that. Usually he won't let me out of the bedroom until I give him a couple of treats. And the nasty prick will grab my pants or grab my shirt. So I was getting ready to walk out of the bedroom, and I saw him at the edge of the bed. Then all of a sudden, he had to lick his foot. And when he licked his foot, I beat feet out of the bedroom. Ha ha, no treats for you. Yeah, you licked your foot. You distracted yourself. Yeah, I was kind of watching out of the corner of my eye. He's doing the old toe dance on the end of the bed. And then he's like, and I was out the door. Then he sits there and looks like, hey, come back here. Hey. Sorry. So you didn't have no treats today, and your belly alarm's going off early. Man, last night, about 2:30 this morning, he gets in bed and he starts the massage. And the more he went, the louder his motor was running. And he went for about a half hour. I was like, Jesus, you gonna let me go to sleep? You're a trip. I wouldn't trade you for anything, but you're a trip, and you're a pain in the ass. I'm getting that look. No treats. Feed me. I ain't got no treats. Feed me. I'm talking about you. The last couple of days, he's been doing something that's hilarious. He'll stand in the doorway and look. Now, if I turn my head and acknowledge him, he comes in, rubs against my leg. So I watch him out of the corner of my eye. He come in about 2 inches. He's looking, waiting for me to look over at him. He come in about 2 more inches, then 2 more inches, and he finally ended up right next to my chair, and I ignored the shit out of him. And he sat there for a good 20 minutes looking up. And then finally I looked down, and he was like, oh, he recognized me. But it was funny. He just inched forward a little bit and stop and look. Inch forward, stop and look. You're a trip. Yeah, I know. You're hungry. You're starving. You're about ready to drop over from hunger, and then I'll have to give you CPD or CPR or COPD or something. Just sitting there, 2 big eyes. Feed me. all right. We've gone long. I'll end a little early tonight because you didn't get your treats.
That's it. I'm through.
Come on, tablet. You know where, right here, WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. And with that, everybody, thanks for being here. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And I'm going to go feed the walking belly. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. See you, bye.